Good evening. Welcome this evening to our Gita discussion. So nice of you to join me. Normally, as you all know, we have it on Wednesday evening, but because tomorrow evening is a special celebration called Krishna Janmashtami, it's the appearance of Sri Krishna. And for those who are practicing Bhakti Yoga, specifically Krishna Bhakti, it's a big event. So we're having an event here at our home, and therefore we've moved the date till today, Tuesday, but normally it'll be on Wednesday. I just wanted to give everyone a heads up on that. All right, so we'll begin our session, our Gita session, with our invocation mantras. These are mantras which are, the Bhakti tradition is big on respect and gratitude. So we are showing through these mantras, it's an offering of respect and gratitude to our teachers, not only our present teachers, which are guiding us on our path, but also teachers of previous ages, which have taken the time and energy to study the science of the soul and share with us their realizations through various types of books and commentaries on books such as the Gita. So two of the first two mantras are to the principal of teacher or guru. The second two are to my teacher. And the third set of mantras are, one is to create an auspiciousness, to ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to create an auspiciousness for our evening discussion. And then we'll conclude with the Hare Krishna mantra. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapodantikam Namaho Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vastyatyagadesho Tarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, a glorious evening here in Boca Raton, Florida. Thank you all for joining me for this Gita discussion. We have progressed to chapter 11. There are 18 chapters in the Gita. Chapter 11 is a very amazing chapter. It's called the Virat Yoga. 18 chapters, 18 yogas. Krishna, each in Sanskrit, the title of each chapter is a yoga, like Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, the various yoga perspectives. In other words, yoga is one. Yoga means to connect us to the Supreme, that connection. But there are different ways, there are different perspectives that one can take, different paths that one can take, which eventually lead us up to the same top of the mountain. Just like if you are going to a top of a mountain, there may be different paths that'll lead you there. So they may have different vistas, different perspectives. One may be longer, one may be shorter, etc. But that is what yoga is. It gives us, it's a system or a discipline which gives humanity the opportunity to connect to its highest potential. And from the Gita's perspective, the highest potential is a loving relationship with the Supreme. From Patanjali's perspective in the Yoga Sutras, the highest perspective is to become aware of your awareness. That self-awareness of the self. So it's really becoming aware of your awareness. So let us begin with the 11th chapter. If you have any questions along the way, please either jot it down or let me know so I can address the question. So there is no confusion. All right. The universal form, Virat Rupa Yoga. This is text 1, Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter. Arjuna said, "By my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. O lotus-eyed, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity and have realized your inexhaustible glories." So this is Arjuna addressing Krishna. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. So two things that Arjuna is saying. The first thing is, I see you in your original form. Krishna, the two-armed form, the flute playing Krishna with the peacock feather. I see you. I have a relationship with you in that two-armed form. But I want to see you. I want to have another perspective of who you are and what you do. And this can be understood by seeing the universal form, which means how the Supreme enters into the cosmic manifestation. So this universal form gives one a perspective or insight on how there is presence of God in everything, every living entity, both higher and lower in terms of the species scale, how the Supreme is present there. So Arjuna is asking this for a particular reason. Arjuna asked to hear in detail previously of some of Krishna's qualities so that he can meditate, because there was in the 9th chapter Krishna, in the 34th text, Krishna says, just always think of me, meditate upon me, perform devotional service for me. And in this way, you can come to me. So that kind of sparked the inquiry coming from Arjuna about how we can do that. So Krishna gives him insight in the 10th chapter of the various ways, the essence of things. So you can meditate on the essence, the most powerful point of bodies of water. What's the most powerful body of water? The ocean. So of bodies of water, Krishna says, I am the ocean. Of purifiers, I am the wind. It is known in India, for instance, if you have, say you have a woolen jacket or what they call a chadar, it's like a wrap, and it's made out of wool. If you hang that outside and the wind goes through, it's considered to be purified, cleansed. So Krishna says, of purifiers, I am the wind. Of the sun, I am the heat of the sun. I am the light of the moon. And he gives us all of these different attributes within us and around us that we can look at and say, yes, the Supreme is the essence of the sun, which is its heat, the essence of a body of water, which is the ocean. But now Arjuna asks Krishna, not that even Arjuna needed to see the universal form. In fact, the universal form is a most rare vision. Not many people saw the universal form. In fact, I think in the history of humanity, Krishna only revealed it 5 times, this universal form. Twice, he revealed it to Mother Jashoda. One time, he pretended that he was eating dirt, and she wanted to look, and he denied that. Krishna, he denied that he was eating dirt, and Mother Jashoda looked into his mouth, and there she saw the cosmic manifestation. And another time when Krishna yawned, and then she looked, she was holding Krishna, baby Krishna, and she was holding Krishna, and she looked into his mouth, and she saw within the mouth the universal form. So that was twice. Third time, and the most complete time, the manifestation was to Arjuna, upon Arjuna's request. The fourth time was to Duryodhana during in the Mahabharata, when Krishna went to Duryodhana and the Kurus to try to negotiate peace amongst the Kurus and the Pandavas. Then Duryodhana and Karna hatched a scheme to try to weaken the Pandavas' position by arresting Krishna and throwing him into prison. And they then thought, well, if the Pandavas are without Krishna, they will be weakened tremendously, and they won't try to resist our demands of taking the whole entire empire. But Krishna bewildered Duryodhana and the others by revealing only a partial manifestation of the universal form. And it was so intense an experience that Duryodhana couldn't stand the vision. It was just too intense for him, and he put his head down. So that was the fourth time that Krishna revealed the universal form. And the fifth time was to a sage named Uttanka, who doubted Krishna being the supreme personality of Godhead. So when Krishna wanted to show him some special mercy, Uttanka was walking ahead, and when he turned around, there was Krishna in his universal form. So it is a very rare form to experience. So that's why it's important. And Arjuna asks Krishna to do it so that he can he can explain, or he's actually doing it for our benefit. He can tell, Krishna had said previously, here are my opulences in chapter 10. But in chapter 11, Arjuna wanted to take it a little further by this manifestation of the universal form. So Krishna agrees. But what does Krishna say here? Okay, I'll show you that universal form. And in text 4, if you think, Arjuna says, if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, oh my Lord, oh master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. So in this particular verse, the word is Yogeshwara. Yoga, Ishwara. Two words combined into one, Yogeshwara. And Yogeshwara means the master of all mystic powers. So Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Yogeshwara because he knows that Krishna is the master of all mystic powers. And these powers that he has, another word would be siddhis, these siddhis that Krishna has, he can do so many things, like reveal the universal form, like give Arjuna the ability to have darshan, or to see this universal form. So therefore, every time Arjuna addresses Krishna by a particular name, the name has relevance. It's not just random, but it has relevance to where we're at in the Gita, what Krishna and Arjuna are talking about. Because so you'll hear Arjuna address Krishna in different ways: Yogeshwara, Madhusudana, Keshava, etc. And all these various names are relevant to what they're talking about at the particular time. So here, Yogeshwara, Krishna is being addressed by Arjuna as Yogeshwara because he's requesting Arjuna to reveal something that has not been revealed to many personalities at all. And therefore, Krishna says, in order for you, a little later on, in order for you to see this, I have to bestow the ability for you to see this. It's not that Arjuna or yourself or myself have the eyes to see this. Just like, do we have the eyes to see atomic or molecular structure, even molecular structure? We don't have. With the naked eye, we cannot see. But if we qualify ourselves through a high-powered microscope, then we can see something that is all around us. And that's what Krishna is saying. If you say here in 5, Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, O son of Prita, see now my opulences, hundreds and thousands of varied, divine, and multicolored forms. Text 6, O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumaras, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before. And text 7, O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see, and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything, moving and non-moving, is here completely in one place. So Krishna uses a Sanskrit word called pasya 4 times in the last 3 verses. So he is emphasizing that Arjuna should see this wonderful universal form never before seen. So this is a little unusual because Krishna is first saying, look, but then Krishna says, he's saying, look, everything is around you, everything you can behold. You can behold all the demigods. All the demigods are within me. And that is why sometimes people ask me, like in kirtan or something to that effect, when we discuss the Bhagavad Gita, people ask me, what about the demigods? And it is understood that by approaching Krishna and satisfying Krishna, Krishna is compared to the root of a tree. How do you nourish the tree? By watering the leaves or the twigs or the branches, or by watering the root? How do you nourish the body? Do you feed the hands? Do you feed the ears? Do you feed any other orifice of the body? Or do you put food into the stomach, and from there the body becomes nourished? So in this way, these comparisons are similar to Krishna. By serving Krishna and pleasing Krishna, all other beings, it's described that all other beings throughout the universe, both minuscule, like the Indragopa germ, all the way up to the greatest of demigods, all become satisfied by approaching and pleasing Krishna. So that is what Krishna is showing here to Arjuna. Everything is contained within me and within this form. Why I say it's unusual, he's saying, look, but Arjuna doesn't have the eyes to see. So what does Krishna say in verse 8? But you cannot see me. First Krishna is saying, look around you. Everything is, the demigods are all there. Everything is there, all living entities, the sun, the moon, everything is there. But then Krishna says in 8, but you cannot see this. Why? You don't have the eyes to see. With your present eyes, you can't see it. Just like with our naked eyes, we can't see atomic structure or molecular structure, etc. We have to qualify our vision. So what is Krishna saying here? Therefore, how do you qualify your vision? I, Krishna, give you divine eyes. And the word that's used, that Krishna uses several times throughout the course of the Gita, is divya. I give you divya chakshush. I give you divine eyes so that you can see. And when you have these divine eyes, then you are able to see. So again, it emphasizes the point that bhakti is the yoga system of grace or of mercy. Krishna is giving Arjuna the opportunity to see this universal form, but it is by Krishna's grace that he is able to see this form, not by his own endeavor or his own intelligence or his own capabilities. Krishna says, no, you don't have the eyes to see, but I will give you the eyes to see. See, we all have chakshush, vision, but it depends what is affecting that vision. For instance, if you have clear sight, 20/20 vision, etc., nothing is affecting your vision. You have clear sight. So we can compare divya chakshush to clear sight. But if you have astigmatism, right, and you need glasses, or you have cataracts, or you have any one of a number of things that can influence your vision, then you don't have clear vision. And you may have a couple of those things simultaneously. You may have cataracts and astigmatism and a couple of different things that will blur the vision. So this divyam chakshush is clear vision. This is pure spiritual vision. And Krishna says, it comes from me. I'm giving it to you. Now, there are other visions which are represented by the goal of various other yoga systems. For instance, jnana chakshush, having a vision through the development of knowledge. Now, the result of cultivating a vision through knowledge. When I speak of knowledge, I'm not talking about PhDs or anything like that. I'm talking about understanding the Shastra, scriptures, Upanishads in particular, and understanding the nature of everything and its in its energetic form called Brahman. So you get Jnana Chakshus. So with Jnana Chakshus, that vision gained through knowledge, you can understand that there is Brahman, that there is, as Krishna describes Brahman in the 14th chapter, I believe, imperishability, immortality, and eternality. That's the way Krishna describes Brahman. So you'll be able to enter into that state, that Brahma Bhuta state, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, na sochati, na kankshati. In that state, you are, Prabhupada says, if you are in Brahma Bhuta stage of realization, there is no such thing as depression. Na sochati, na kankshati. So if you are practicing, a spiritual practitioner, whether it's bhakti or otherwise, and you enter into depression, you can understand you're not on the Brahma Bhuta platform, because there is nothing that can diminish your the happiness, the experience of the Brahma Bhuta level of realization. Nothing. So Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kankshati. So Jnana Chakshus means we can enter into that state, into that perspective of Godhead, which is called Brahman, imperishability, immortality, eternality. Then there is that perspective, and there is the perspective of Guna Chakshus. That means we see through the tinge of the modes of material nature, Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. So Tamagun means it's darkness, can't see much at all, can't see things clearly at all. Rajagun in relationship to doingness, activity, creativity, etc. And Sattvagun is goodness, and that's knowledge, clarity of perspective, happiness. So when we are covered by the modes of material nature, that is the perspective that we have. Prabhupada affixed a color to each guna. He said that the Sattvagun was yellow, Rajagun was red, and Tamagun was dark blue. So it's like putting on glasses that are tinted red, yellow, or blue. Then we see through that perspective. We see through a rajasic perspective, or a tamasic perspective, or a sattvic perspective. And that's what gives everyone their particular inclinations and their beliefs and disbeliefs or no beliefs, etc., is because that guna chakshus. So these various visions or perspectives that we have come from different reasons. So the guna chakshus is because we are conditioned, we are covered by the external energy, the external potency. Jnana chakshus comes from when we study the Upanishads and enter into yoga and meditation on the Brahman, the unlimited, inexhaustible oneness. And the Divyam chakshus comes when Krishna reveals himself by his mercy. So that is how Arjuna is now being blessed by Krishna, by this Divyam chakshus. Does anyone have any questions thus far, or any comments? Like to add anything to help clarify for others? Your comments are are more than welcome. So whatever can help us to understand what is going on here, that would be great. No, if not, we'll move on.
Just a comment.
Sure.
It sounds to me strange that Prabhupada chose blue for tamas.
Yeah, dark blue. I guess he was using the primary colors, and yellow is light and bright, and red is more fiery, which would be akin to being passionate, and blue he said like a dark blue, that kind of. So I think the analogy was drawn from primary colors. And then, of course, if you follow through with that analogy, then we're not purely influenced by just passion. Tamagun is also there. Sattvagun can be there also. There is this kind of swirl of exchange that's going on. In other words, in order to be active, there has to be rajas. In order to go to sleep, there has to be tamas. Yeah. So, this is to take the analogy of color further. When you mix red and blue, you get purple. When you mix yellow and blue, you get green. So you get these nuances of coloring now. Now you get the various shades. So same thing with the modes of material nature. When there's a predominance, but there is secondarily tamagun and rad. So you can see all the different combinations that you can have by extrapolating 3 times 3 is 9, and then 9 times 9 is 81, plus 3 is 84. And Prabhupada says that's why there's 8,400,000 species, because the various permutations or combinations of the modes of material nature, not only you have Rajagun and then you have Tamagun, but the degrees that you can be, the innumerable varying degrees of influence that's coming simultaneously. And that's how we get the various species. That's how we get the particular mindsets that we have. One mindset might be, heavily influenced by Rajagun, but there may be a secondary strong influence of Sattvagun. And conversely, you may be influenced by Rajagun, but there may be a secondary influence of Tamagun. Or then you can have a primary influence of Tamagun and a secondary influence. So you see how it goes on to create different perspectives. So this is what we're talking about, when we talk about various visions, sight that comes depending on what we're influenced. But if we're influenced by the grace of Krishna, by the mercy of Krishna, then anything is possible. That is why a devotee, I was just reading where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in particular said that we do not try to see Krishna, but try to act in such a way that Krishna takes notice of us. And then Prabhupada, in a lecture today, where he was talking about that point, about Prabhupada was saying that suppose you work for a company and you're always trying to get in to see the CEO. But if you perform, your performance in your job is like really outstanding and noteworthy, then you get recognized. And we just had a devotee that is a mechanical engineer, I believe. What is his name? Ram Sarup, I believe. And he's a mechanical engineer, and he just received like the top award for performance in his field. Now, that's going to catch his employer's attention for sure. So it's the same thing. It's the same principle. We don't try to see where is God, but we act in such a way through the system of bhakti that Krishna says, oh, just see how nicely this person is chanting japa, how nicely this person is rendering humble service, how nicely this person is calling out in prayer. And in this way, we are seen. So in the system of bhakti, it is more a process of behaving or acting in such a way that Krishna takes notice, or Radharani takes notice. And then they will say, oh, this particular person, how extraordinary. So development, the cultivation of a particular perspective, that is what we are trying to do when we perform bhakti yoga, is we are cultivating the perspective which is fully dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Krishna. We are in text 9.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to, ask the following up question. So, is it not possible completely to eradicate, for example, tamaguna? For example, when we sleep, right, we are influenced by tamaguna, but it's impossible that human being doesn't go to sleep.
Right.
So, or there are sometimes, some things which are natural to us, like sleep, they can be influenced by tamaguna.
Right.
So, even the highest devotees, sometimes they sleep, right? They sleep a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 hours, but still they sleep. So, like when this acharyas, when they sleep, are they influenced by tamaguna or not?
Not. It is that Prabhupada was asked that question. It is part of their service that they enter into another state, but they're always thinking of Krishna. So it is still a continuation of their service. Because when one is, if we're talking about pure devotees now, that's called Shuddha Sattva. And Shuddha Sattva means pure goodness. And the state of Shuddha Sattva or Vishuddha Sattva, the state of pure goodness means there is no influence of the other modes. So therefore, for someone of the caliber of devotion that you're talking about and purity, there isn't tamagun for them to sleep. It's just part of the service. In their sleep state, they're either dreaming of Krishna or, some way or another, they remain connected to the lotus feet of Krishna. So it is different when you're on the...
if we want to also eradicate this tamaguna, what we can do, we can dedicate our sleep as a service to Krishna, or how do we get rid of this?
Yeah. That's a very good perspective to have, that, without this sleep, especially if I'm on a particular level of advancement without that sleep, then in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says that one loses their intelligence if there's an artificial lack of sleep. Then one becomes bewildered and loses one's intelligence. So yes, all that we do, right? Krishna says, Yat karosi, yat ashnasi, yat jahosi dadasi, yat, all that we do, all that we eat, all that we, austerities that we perform, charity that we give, all that we do it as our offering. So we take care of our bodies. I've been involved in Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness movement for 51 years now, and I've seen all kinds of things go on, in the name of bhakti. I've seen devotees assume very severe, extremely austere lifestyles, but yet not be on the level where, like a Raghunath Das Goswami. When Raghunath Das Goswami, who came from a multi-millionaire family. So he came from very, very wealthy parents. And when he left home and went to Jagannath Puri, and he became very renounced. I mean, at first, when he went to Jagannath Puri, and his father found out that that's where he went. So his father sent four servants and a monthly stipend. So at first, Raghunath Goswami took the monthly stipend, and he was using it in charity, and he was engaging the servants in devotional service. But then, as Raghunath Das Goswami, he became more and more absorbed in his sadhana, and more became revealed. He became more and more austere and more renounced, till finally he was so renounced that even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was shocked at the austerity of Raghunath Das Goswami. But it wasn't artificial. Why? He did it every day, without fail, without being affected adversely, his sadhana or his health or anything like that being affected adversely. And we see that our own Srila Prabhupada slept 3 to 4 hours a night. Yet he would still rise early. He would still chant his japa. He would still do hours of translation work. He would still lecture to hundreds of devotees. He traveled 14 times around the globe. In fact, there were several devotees who were like his personal secretaries. They had a very difficult time maintaining, because they weren't on that level. So they would fall asleep during class. They would, they would get sick, and so many things. So this degree of advancement has to be real. And it's another thing I've witnessed in 51 years. If you assume a posture of advancement, but you're really not on that level, it doesn't last. It doesn't last long. In fact, it can be the cause of committing offenses and doing so many things that can actually cause you to fall away from Krishna consciousness. I'll give you another example. There was a devotee in Chicago. This is around 1976, and he was diagnosed with a heart disease, and the doctor said he had 6 months to live. So he went to Srila Prabhupada, and he told Prabhupada what had happened, and he wanted to take Babaji. Now, Prabhupada never gave Babaji initiation, because in India, people take Babaji initiation. Not all, but a lot of people take Babaji initiation so that they can get supported. They can get fed, they can get a place to stay for free, etc. But are they on that level of extreme renunciation? No. So therefore, they either become cheaters or they totally fall away. So this devotee asked Srila Prabhupada to give him this Babaji initiation, which really literally means you sit and you chant, for most of the day and night, and you sleep a little and you eat a little. So Prabhupada didn't want to do it at first, and he kind of insisted. He said, please, Srila Prabhupada, it'll be an incentive to use the last 6 months of my life, dedicated in this way. So Prabhupada said, okay. He agreed. And he went to Mayapur, and he sat out in the fields of Mayapur, and he was chanting and chanting. And then he got another opinion, and they said that their diagnosis was wrong. He didn't have heart disease. And what happens when you perform severe austerities artificially, then the desires, your material desires swell up in your heart. And that's what happened to him. His desires got the best of him, and he actually left even performing his sadhana, and he went away. and disappear, never to be seen again. So yeah, the tamagun stage, if you're not pure, then it's there, and you have to utilize it, like you said, Gayatri, as your offering, so that you can, serve nicely. You can be in good health, and a clear mind, so that you can do nice service, and that tamagun eventually becomes purified by that intention, that attitude.
So practically, how does it look? For example, before I go to sleep, I just say, "Oh Krishna, I'm going to sleep. I have nothing. I mean, I cannot do anything with it. Please accept this sleep as my service." Or how does it work? How does it practically look?
Yeah, because practically, we have relationship with the Supreme. He is the Supreme Person. So as we talk, yeah, we can establish. You can also look for different Leelas, stories that might be there, that might be very conducive, to this topic of sleep. Arjuna, for instance, was addressed by Krishna as Gudakesh, which means he who conquered sleep. Now, in the Mahabharata, does it ever say that Arjuna never slept? It does not say that. I think quite the contrary. It does indicate that Arjuna did sleep. But yet Krishna addressed Arjuna as Gudakesh. So it means that he was on a level where even his sleep was a continuation of his service. So we can meditate on Arjuna as Gudakesh, conqueror of sleep. O conqueror of sleep, please empower me to similarly conquer sleep, not artificially, but in all honesty. So
Does anyone do it? Does anyone does it, or not?
Do I know of anyone who does it?
Yeah, I mean, if there are some actions which we have we need to do them, and these actions are in Rajaguna or Tamaguna.
Right.
Like, for example, I don't know, even taking these chemical medications which you can buy in every store, which are not like herbs but like really chemicals. I mean, they're all in tamas, right? They cannot be like goodness or anything. So sometimes people have to take medicines, and people also sleep every day. Or sometimes people are at work, they're all in Rajaguna. So I wonder, do people just say, okay, I have to?
Yeah, the for instance, the work topic is probably one of the most often asked questions coming from people who are grihastas. What do I do? I have to work, I have to raise my family, etc. So grihasta means an ashram, one who is in an ashram. So that means if you are in an ashram is for spiritual development. And there are certain guidelines for that particular ashram that are given in ample supply in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other texts, how to be a grihasta, or a person who lives in family life, but that approach to family life helps them to develop their spiritual awareness. So everything, as I said, by Krishna's verse in the 9th chapter of the Gita, all that we do, we cultivate this mindset that if I have to work, then in my work, I'm doing this as an offering to you, Krishna. And we get results to our work. But as Krishna advises in the Gita, we're not attached to our results. We receive the results, and we do what we need to do with the results. In other words, to maintain body, mind, and soul together. So we do what we need to do, but yet we are fully dependent on Krishna rather than our intense endeavor to be a success or to make a lot of money. That we have an attitude and an intention that I do this because this is my dharma. I have to be responsible. So this is my dharma. I do my dharma. And then as a result of doing your dharma dutifully, under the auspices of the Supreme, through the connection with a spiritual master, a guru, then your dharma becomes purificatory. It's a purificatory process, because any ashram, spiritual ashram, is meant to purify. You do the things in brahmachari ashram to purify you. You do the things that you do in sannyas to purify you. You do the things that you do in vanaprast to purify you. So all of these austerities, 3 out of the 4 ashramas, spiritual ashramas, are austere. Brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyasi are all austere. There's one concession. This concession is the spiritual ashram of a person who's living in householder life and is following a life in according to the directions of Krishna and according to the directions of Krishna's representative. And we act in that particular way. And that ashrama becomes purifying. So that when we reach a certain stage of development, then we move on, to a situation that better facilitates our advancement. Could be vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means husband and wife become austere. They may downsize. They downsize not for the reason of other people not wanting to be bothered with a house or anything. They downsize to simplify their life so they can spend more of their time in service to the Lord. So
Okay. That answers the question. And then one last question: how to also not to be fake in a way that, for example, I'm thinking, okay, I need something to do a service, so I may ask Krishna. So I may ask Krishna to grant something for me because it's my duty or anything, but deep down in my heart, I know that I really just want to enjoy this thing.
That's funny.
You won't get it.
What's that, Eleanor?
You won't get it.
Right. You may get it, but it certainly won't be the source of your advancement. It certainly won't be the source of development of love of Godhead. That's the thing about the potency of bhakti. You may get what you really, be careful what you desire, because Krishna may just give it to you. But I use, what I used as a guideline? I used my parents as a guideline to see whether I was fake or pretentious or whatever. In other words, my parents knew me very well. I mean, they brought me into this world. They raised me until I was, 21, and 22, I became a devotee. And, but my parents always said, the one thing I like about you is you became a devotee. Okay, that's really freaky and really different than what we expected, but you're still who you are. We still see you. We relate to you as who who we know. We know this person. Okay, you've adjusted your lifestyle, but not in a way where now I'm, rigid and stoic, and because that's not me. I'm not rigid, nor am I stoic. So I see sometimes with particularly new devotees, there's six stages of anishtita bhakti. Anishtita bhakti means unsteady devotional service. And the first level of anishtita bhakti is utsahamayi, and this means falsely enthusiastic. So I see devotees where they have a picture of an ideal devotee. Hypothetically, we know what we're to do. We're to chant, we're to do seva, the puja, so many service, Vaishnavas, etc. but sometimes they adopt an alter ego, where now I'm kicking into this devotee ego and I have to look and behave, etc. And then, as you intimated, Gayatri, there's like these desires that are deep within the heart, and we harbor those desires, and eventually, if we're not careful, of course, if we are careful, then we can keep them subjugated, we can keep them at bay, and then eventually they get weaker and weaker and weaker. But if we harbor them and we're doing, like, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm in kirtan, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and we're doing it pretentiously, then those desires that we are harboring, they won't be diminished in potency. They'll remain, and they could even grow stronger, especially if we're doing things, chanting inattentively, committing offense to others, etc. We are actually creating an environment where the weeds grow around our creeper, our devotional creeper, and eventually weeds can look innocuous at first. They can look very small, but they'll get stronger and stronger, and they'll suck the nourishment from the main plant and kill the main plant. So we have to be honest. We have to learn how to be honest with ourselves and recognize the platform that you're on. And within the scope of that platform, then you try to advance. I'll give you another for example. Sometimes people in married life, they try to behave towards their partner in a particular way. They're really stoic and really austere and don't want to associate intimately or anything like that. But yet what they're doing is they're kind of breaking the bond that will help them to advance. They're kind of cutting off the bond that will help them to advance, because the Grihastha ashram means that there's two, behaving in such a way to help each other, to facilitate each other's devotional service. So we got to be honest. We have to recognize the level that we're at, act according to that level, and continue with all honesty and earnestness to do our devotional service, and so that we can genuinely grow into the next stage, the higher stage of devotion, the higher stage. It describes that first there's Shraddha, then, which is faith or inspiration, and then the path of bhakti. And then, from Shraddha, you go to Sadhu Sangha, where you want to associate more with saintly personalities or like-minded people. And then from there, you go to Bhajana Kriya. That means actions of devotion. Now you start making a commitment. I'm going to chant japa every day. I'm going to follow principles, regulative principles of bhakti. I'm going to do these things. And then from that stage, once you are committed to that, then you go to the next level, which is called anartha nibriti. That means when you are effectively doing your bhajana kriya, your devotional service, it's removing the obstacles, the impediments, the conditioning that's within the heart. You're on that level where you're now starting to pluck out those weeds. You've assumed the role of the attentive gardener, and you're looking for the weeds, because weeds are very, very clever. Our backyard has pavers, and the pavers are very tight, and when there's negligence, then even that tight paver that has sand in between, and weed grows up. I was just out there today and I was like going, wow, because we just had our pavers redone and all the new sand put in and a sealant put on and everything. And it was just done a couple of months ago. And I'm looking and I'm seeing little weeds popping up and I'm going, man, I have to be like super attentive. And that's the attitude we have towards our heart. I have to be super attentive. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says all 10 offenses to chanting of the holy names come from the initial offense of being inattentive. So we have to be super attentive, know what a weed is. Like I always ask my wife, because I know nothing. I'm a city boy. My wife was raised on a farm. Can I pull this out? No, are you kidding me? I just planted that. It's like, oh, oops. So know what a weed is. That's one of the aspects of our devotional education, to know what a weed is, what it looks like, an offense is. And then to be attentive, to make sure those weeds don't crop up in our heart. And if they do, to be attentive to pluck them out, get them out of there before they grow strong and overwhelm the creeper. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I am curious now.
That's
This Babaji initiation belongs to the Krishna tradition only?
Mostly it's in the Krishna tradition, but the other traditions also. It's really just a severe type of austerity where you have nothing, you collect nothing, and actually now that I'm thinking of it, other traditions have it also. There are Shaivites that are Babajis, and other traditions have it too. But in our tradition, it's reducing of sleep, reducing of eating, increasing of chanting. Raghunath Das Babaji, Haridas Thakur were sterling examples, and they were chanting 20 hours a day and using 4 hours of their time for bodily maintenance, which included sleep. So, yeah. Babaji. Why you want to be a Babaji, Eleanor?
That would be a fantasy.
Something.
I cannot even do this, I would say, initial duties.
If you want to start, tomorrow's Janmashtami, and you fast all day on Janmashtami, and there's immense benefit on that. So if you want to start at a glimpse of what it looks like to be a Babaji or austere, then you can fast all day tomorrow during Krishna Janmashtami. And that will give you a glimpse of what to look forward to. Well, if there are no other questions,
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry,
Yes.
just one question. So, are we going to fast till midnight tomorrow, or it's till like moonrise?
I really think it will be a personal decision.
Mhm.
At the program tomorrow, there will be prasadam. It will be served out around moonrise, around 8:15, I think is the schedule. So you can, if you want to observe the fast till midnight, I would take prasadam with you home, and then you can honor it sometime tomorrow, because tomorrow, the day after Janmashtami is Prabhupada's Vyas Puja, and we usually fast usually break the Janmashtami feast at midnight, and then fast again till 12 noon, and observance Vyas Puja for Prabhupada. So I would say if you would like to fast until midnight, then take prasadam with you so that you have Janmastami prasadam. Or, if you're working all day and you're thoroughly exhausted, it's entirely a personal decision.
But usually it's like till midnight, like usually Janmashtami.
Say that again?
So I'm asking you, is it usually till midnight?
Yes, I mean that's
Okay.
the normal. When it says that the particular Vishnu Tattva, when that appearance happens, that's when the fast is broken. So, like for instance, Balaram is noon, Narasimhadev is dusk. Those are their appearance times.
Okay.
So with Krishna, it's said to be midnight.
Okay.
Alrighty?
Okay. Thank you so much.
And it's Ekadasi break fast
Mhm.
for Vishnu Tattva, which means fasting from grains and beans. So the feast tomorrow night at our house will be all Ekadasi.
Mhm.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your kind attention and your association. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Regular schedule, Wednesday next week. Okay. So thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Happy Janmashtami to you all.